Deutschland. Ich komme
Okay.
ursprünglich aus Indonesia, bin in Indonesia geboren.
Okay, ja.
Ich bin in Indonesia geboren und dann habe ich ausgewandert nach Deutschland. Ah, good morning,
Okay,
Alan.
das gut. Wir sprechen vielleicht später nochmal.
Ja, ja.
Okay,
Morning,
ส
Sarah.
วัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ
Morning, Sarah.
Hi, Sita. Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Sita.
It's
Morning,
afternoon,
everyone.
1:30 in the afternoon.
Morning, evening, anytime is
Afternoon.
still just dramas arising and falling.
Okay, it's okay.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Nina. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sarah. Sorry,
Kun
can't turn
Om,
my
Kun
camera
Pakani.
on. I'm driving.
Okay. Thanks,
Yep.
Kunju. Glad you're here.
Hi, Sarah. สวั
Hello.
สดีค่ะ
So who's speaking? Oh, Kun Pakani, Kun Om. Good to see you again. And Herbert is with you, is he?
Herbert is with me, but he tried to come in Zoom, but get not. I don't know. คุณเอมคุณ Herbert เข้าไม่ได้ต้องทำอย่างไรคะ
I see.
ต้องส่งลิงก์ให้เขาแล้ว แต่มันก็ยังเข้าไม่ได้เขากดไปแล้วมันเข้าไม่ได้
เดี๋ยว
Better
ให้
to
จอย
try sometime.
meeting ID กับpassword นะครับ เดี๋ยวส่
ค่ะ
งให้
เพราะว่าเดี๋ยวเขาจะออกไปข้างนอก
ครับ
แล้วเขาอาจ
เดี๋
จะ
ยว
ไป
ส่งให้
เข้า
ทางไลน์นะครับครับ
ได้
ครับ
ค่ะโอเคขอบคุณค่ะ
ท่านอาจารย์มาแล้วนะครับ
Okay, let's see if Jan is here as well. Jan, are you here?
Yes, สวัสดีค่ะ everyone.
Sawadika. Hello,
สวัส
everyone.
ดีครับท่านอาจารย์สวัสดีครับ
So I think we can start now.
What is also not people?
Hello, Kunritna. Does anyone have anything they would like to start with? Sita, we haven't seen you for a little while. Do you have any topic you would like to start with?
I'm still revising on last week's discussion to get in again. Yeah, I was, Ajahn spoke about this arising and falling moments and the reality, conditioning it. Is this, I want to ask Ajahn, is this arising and falling second spirit of movement, is this nimitta? I'm not so sure. If Ajahn can help my understanding. Is it called nimitta?
Is there nothing arise at all? Can there be anything now?
No.
If that's why what is now appearing has reason by conditions. No one can make it arise. Is that true?
Yes.
So as soon as it has a reason, it falls away instantly. For example, it arises just to see right now. As soon as it sees, it falls away.
Yes.
But it does not appear as it is, that it's now arising and falling away, because the rapidity of conditions for whatever arises is so enormous. Who knows? Never be the moment without that which arises to experience at all in life, from moment of birth to death. Is that right?
Yes.
So what is there has a reason by conditions, that's all. Arising and falling away, not permanent at all, just arise to see. As soon as it sees, it's gone, because it is conditioned to arise to see only.
Yes. Ajahn also mentioned that this arising and falling away in one of the discussion was falling, that is dukkha. And this there was the discussion with the monk. This is dukkha, and this is also dukkha, and that is darkness. Where
Is it not dukkha? Because it has arisen and then gone, never arise again at all. So what's the point of just arises to see and gone, never to arise again? Everything is only that which is conditioned to arise and then gone. Is that not dukkha? Why arise? Because it's gone, just like before it has arisen, nothing there. So what is the use or the point of arising and falling away non-stop by conditions, on and on, life to life, years and years? Is it not dukkha, unsatisfactory?
yes, yes.
So learn to
Existence.
understand the truth from
Yes,
nothing. Then there's something and then nothing again. What for? Useless.
yes,
No one can change it the way it is. Dhamma, anatta. It's the way it is.
yeah. Thank you, Ajahn. And this is nimitta, Ajahn. Yes, this we call it
Because,
nimitta.
yes, just one moment, a moment, and split seconds of a moment. See, it arises and see and gone. So what appears is the nimitta of a reality, nimitta of seeing, nimitta of hardness, not just
Okay.
only one single moment in split seconds can be known.
Okay. Thank you, Ajahn.
So now, what appears does not appear as it is. It's the world of nimitta, sign, shape, and form, taken for something instantly, because the rapidity of that which arises and falls away in split seconds, of split seconds. As soon as one opens one's eyes, so many things around. In truth, there must be only one dot before it can be shape and form of something, like what appears at the television screen, only one dot. But as soon as we turn on, so many things around in the screen, on and on and on. So that which has arisen, never to arise again. Only once in samsara, no matter what is there now, never be the same one at all. And no one there at all, because all gone. Which one can be taken for I or something? It's only different realities arising and falling away. So we learn to understand the ultimate truth. That which is seen is not that which is heard, different moments. So while we are sitting, talking, seeing, thinking, see, no one at all. What is that? All different realities that can be studied, that there must be the reality which experiences an object. So there are so many things around. In truth, just one dot at a time. Just learn to understand the world of atta, that in truth, it is not atta, something, someone, or anything. It's just the word of anatta. What is seen cannot be taken for someone or something at all. It's just a dot. So a dot cannot be someone. So
Yeah.
many dots. See, it's the word of nimitta. the word of atta. But the enlightened one said, all dhammas, whatever is real, is anatta, not anything. So yeah, and the more there is the understanding, the more firm confidence of the truth. It can be moment of understanding what is there in daily life. When there's firm understanding, what is touched is only that which can be touched and gone. From morning up to now, on and on to evening, on and on to night, on and on to new moment again. Is this life the way life is? Nobody can change at all. So life does not belong to anyone because it's gone each moment. And there can be a little more understanding when it's so firm understanding of the truth that what is seen now is not that which has been seen just a moment ago. No matter what, seeing, thinking, hearing, considering, liking, disliking, all gone. As soon as it has risen, it's gone. With wrong understanding, no one there, so I see, I think, I like, all gone. So I all gone, never be I. And that is Dhamma, no one.
Yes.
The ultimate reality arises only once in lifetime in samsara, never to arise again.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajahn.
Firm confidence, a little more parami, saññā-vipallāsa, from the very beginning, to realize the truth. When it is direct awareness of what is there right now with understanding that it's only that, hardness is hardness only. It is hardness only when there's no hearing about the truth, but no understanding of what it is. It just hard. It's not the touching. See, all Adamas, but they are different by conditions only. And that is not enough. What condition what? See, a little more understanding to let go. Attachment to that which is there as something or I. The only way to understand the truth. Talking about that which is now appearing, consider that which is now appearing, understanding the reality which is there known only. When it's gone, it cannot be known at all. But when it's there right now, there can be a little understanding more and more about the truth of it. It's seen, see, it is seen. It's a reality. It's real because now it's seen. And the sound is heard when it is there, heard. But when there's no hearing, the sound cannot be understood because it's not there. So now what is there is the only reality which can be known directly of the truth which is covered up years and years ago. No word about it, no consider about the truth of it, no confidence of the truth enough to directly understanding the truth right now. All depends on conditions. Even hearing now, thinking now, all depends on conditions. And this is the beginning to understand what is meant by Dhamma. What is real is real.
Yes. Thank you, Ajahn.
So in brief, Sita, how can any reality that falls away instantly, that cannot be under anyone's control even for that instant, how can it be any refuge? How can it be satisfactory? It has to be dukkha, unsatisfactory, because it's gone instantly. It cannot be made to last. It cannot be the object of understanding after it's gone. So it's only the nimitta, the sign of it, of what is visible now, or of the sound that can appear. The actual reality has arisen and fallen away countless times. Nothing satisfactory about it. Even when we talk about wholesome qualities like paññā or sati, actually they're dukkha too, because they arise and fall away. They can't be held onto. They can't be made to last either. They're gone instantly, not a refuge of any kind. And with regard to your question about the darkness, so now we're talking and it seems light all the time. We've turned the light on or the sun is shining through the window. It seems that the world is light, but this is ignorance, because actually only at the very brief moments of seeing does light appear. So the world is only light for an instant at a moment of seeing. At a moment of hearing, no light appears. At a moment of smelling, tasting, touching, no light appears. And what about all the moments now of thinking about what is seen, thinking about what is heard? Actually, the world is dark. So it indicates how much ignorance there is, that the light, what is seen, covers up the truth about the world that is actually appearing now. So the world is not as it seems, not as we think it is.
Yes.
So only the nimitta of what is visible appears, only the nimitta of sound appears.
Yeah.
And it's the nimitta of dhammas that are arising and falling away very, very fast and are dukkha because they arise and fall away, and anatta, not anything, not someone, not belonging to anyone. So this is the subtle truths. These are the subtle truths the Buddha taught. And usually there is clinging and ignorance with regard to that which is so impermanent and unsatisfactory. So the point of studying the Dhammas is to understand the truth and not to try and do anything, not to change anything, because no one to do anything, but to just understand the truth, so that gradually there's a little less ignorance, a little less clinging to that which is impermanent and unsatisfactory and not in anyone's control. So a little more letting go of the idea of I that can do something, I that can control, I that sees, I that hears, or something that is seen or heard.
Thank you, Sarah.
So all the points you brought up are very important ones with regard to understanding what is meant by dukkha, what is meant by nimitta, and the dark world, even now.
Yes. Thank you.
And without the Buddha's teaching, we'd have no idea about these truths at all, no idea about the truth of dukkha at all, no idea that there is no one here, no one there, nothing at all, just different dhammas arising and falling away.
Yes. True.
So it's a great blessing to be able to have the opportunity to consider and begin to understand a little more.
Yes, thank you.
Does anyone else have anything they would like to bring up? Kun Om and Kun Herbert, anything you would like to bring up from last time or anything you've been discussing further? Or anyone else?
Sarah, you mentioned what is impermanent is dukkha, what lasts a split second is unsatisfactory, is useless. But there are three characteristics. Isn't dukkha something apart from impermanence as well? So I can understand that what is impermanent only lasts a split second is dukkha, but then that seems to be the characteristic of impermanence. What else is can we say about the reality, the characteristic of reality? I know that Roti had a discussion on this for quite a long time. So what is impermanent is dukkha, but there are three characteristics to reality. Dukkha is one of them, but that is apart from impermanence, is it not?
Well, as we know, there are three kinds of dukkha, like the common dukkha that everyone's familiar with, the painful bodily and mental feeling, the anger, the annoyance, the bodily suffering, and so on. But this is not the noble truth of dukkha. And then there is this more subtle meaning of dukkha, referring to the pleasant feeling rather than the unpleasant feeling that's the object of clinging but falls away, viparinama dukkha. But the third dukkha, the noble truth of dukkha, does refer to the arising and falling away of realities. It is only because of the arising and falling away of realities that all conditioned dhammas are dukkha. The reason that seeing now, hearing now, thinking, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, understanding, ignorance, they are all dukkha, is because they all arise and fall away and are not in anyone's control. So if it were not for the impermanence of realities, we wouldn't be talking about dukkha. So they are very closely tied up together. And also we could say they're closely tied up together with the truth of anatta. If there were a self that could change what has arisen or make it something different or choose to only have pleasant feeling, then the impermanence would not matter and they would not be referred to as dukkha. But because there is no atta, no self, no one that can change anything, because all dhammas are conditioned, this is why they are dukkha, because they are impermanent and anatta. So they're all very closely related together. But without the impermanence of dhammas, then we wouldn't refer to the unsatisfactory nature of them in the deepest sense.
And also then refer to anatta as an aspect of dukkha because it cannot be controlled. And there are suttas, I think, about being bored with the arising and falling away of realities without any control. It's unsatisfactory because nothing can be done. They arise and fall away. So can we say that anatta is an aspect of dukkha then?
Well, I think that, as Ajahn said, I mean, what is the point of continual arising and falling away of realities in samsara? For the wise, they realize there's no value in endless birth after birth, the arising and falling away of realities which are unsatisfactory by nature and anatta, not in anyone's control. So what arises in life is not satisfactory, it's unsatisfactory. So I don't know whether we could say that anatta is an aspect of dukkha. Anatta just refers to the fact that there is no one, there is no thing, there are just dhammas. So what arises and falls away is a dhamma, not an anatta. And what arises and falls away is unsatisfactory. It's dukkha.
Yes, and I think like Alan, like we know that all Dhamma are anatta and anicca, dukkha, but like for nibbana doesn't, why it is not unsatisfactory, because it doesn't arise and fall, so it's not an impermanent. Just like Sarah said, the characteristic of all unsatisfactoriness come from the impermanentness of Dhamma that arise and fall. So if there were no, if it wasn't arise and fall, it cannot be unsatisfactory because it doesn't arise and it doesn't fall. But for Dhamma, it's anatta. For Nibbana, it's anatta, but not anicca and dukkha, which is impermanent and unsatisfactory.
Yeah,
and I think, Alan, I think you can understand what Haji is saying, referring to in terms of in the use of this term as impersonal element. All conditioned dhammas are impersonal elements, and so is nibbana an impersonal element, just another element. Not so.
Yes. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's a good comparison with nibbana. I suppose what I'm trying to get at is the fact that each reality, a conditioned reality, cannot be controlled. That's an aspect of dukkha. So nibbana is anatta, but it's unconditioned. So and the text talk about being bored. I suppose it's a bit like a movie that we watch a movie for an hour, but in it's like a movie from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, in the sense that there is no control over any moment in that movie from the moment you wake up to the moment you die. Who knows what's going to happen? No control, and just that is an aspect of unsatisfactoriness, or I suppose uselessness, or no value, if you like. Yes, it's just an aspect of being conditioned, I suppose, is an aspect of dukkha.
Yeah, and I was thinking, and I was thinking of the term to distinguish. I mean, your question about difference between impermanence and dukkha. I was thinking if you use the English word for impermanence, and dukkha, you can say, breaking down, that nature of breaking down, and the other one is falling away. These two are different.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you mean there.
I mean, everything that arises and falls away, you could say that's just arising just to break down, right? And everything that arises and falls, and the falling.
It's going to crumble. I suppose another word for it could be oppression. The arising and falling away is oppressive. There's no use.
We've lost Sukin's audio, I think.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
sorry. Yeah. I think oppressive. Just I've read some people using the word oppressiveness also. Yeah.
Yeah, just useless. Of no value. I think that's another word we could say. Yeah, useless. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm quite.
It arises and falls away. It's the same as crumbles away in Pali Lujati. So it literally means falls away, crumbles away. Each reality, the world now crumbles away, it falls away. And as you say, each condition, Dhamma, arises and falls away and is dukkha and anatta. But as Haji has pointed out, Nibbana is a reality and it's anatta, but it's not dukkha, and it doesn't, because it doesn't arise and fall away.
I think last week. Oh, so sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yes, Alan, please excuse me. I very much resonated with the term of oppressive, something burdensome and very heavy, and that the only, sometimes I think the only good thing about being in this apple happy land, in this realm, is the chance to hear Dhamma, the truth, that will ultimately set us all free, my Dhamma friends, from the endless cycle of rebirth and death. Yeah, thank you. Please excuse me. Go ahead, Al.
But Eve, even that what you're referring to is dukkha. The happiness and everything.
Yes. But
Yes.
that is the only good thing about being in this realm, is that, for example, ghosts or in Avicii hell, there's no chance to hear the Dhamma or to do good deeds.
Even in this world, it's extremely rare to hear Dhamma. So it's good to take the opportunity while it's there. Last week, I think you used the word, Sarah, you used the word papanchana, and I've forgotten what it means. Don't know, could you just explain what that means? Something to do with proliferation.
Yes, Azita was talking about a sutta, the Mula-Pariyaya Sutta, and it talks about the manyati. It means the conceiving with attachment, conceit, and wrong view, diṭṭhi. And papancha refers to these three kinds of lobha, the lobha on its own, the lobha with mana, and the lobha with diṭṭhi. So what the manyati refers to are actually the papancha, the different kinds of lobha. So usually all day from waking up to going to sleep, there are these different proliferations, different papancha, different thoughts about what's seen, heard, smelled, tasted, and touched, different dreams, different fantasies, because of clinging and ignorance, clinging on its own, clinging with mana, or clinging with wrong view when it's taken for something much of the time, even now, even during a Dhamma discussion.
Thank you.
So
There was another
that's
word.
why,
Yeah, there's another word used a few weeks ago, abhisayama or something like that, which, as I understand it, meant a unique moment. Abhisayama. I think that the discussion was about vipassana. Do you know what I'm talking?
It may have been, John may have been referring to abhisamaya, I think it may have been in the context of peace, calm, actually referring to nibbana.
Okay. Is there a word for a unique moment that hasn't been experienced before? So, for example, vipassana knowing the difference between nama and rupa directly, that is a unique moment to life, isn't it? To samsara, in actual fact.
In the discussion, if for example, Jan was referring to unique moment and using abhisamaya, it would have been referring to the experience of nibbana, I think,
Okay.
not to vipassana jnana. So it's true when it is a moment of, like the first vipassana jnana, it is the clear understanding of what has been understood well, but not clearly, like at that moment. But we wouldn't use abhisamaya in that context.
Okay, right, thank you.
But Ajahn may like to add more.
It's right. That's all. Very unique.
Uh-huh. What does the actual word mean then?
Never arise before.
Never arise before.
Depending on the quality of the stage, for the moment of enlightenment, never arise before. But when it is vipassana jnana, it can arise, not at that level, but it's not just as it appears now. Because this moment is not unique.
Yeah. Okay.
It's always referring to moment of enlightenment.
Yeah.
Like first moment of enlightenment. The
and
very
enlightenment,
unique moment, true peace.
Enlightenment is sometimes referred to in the text as arising and falling away. So in the text you read that the person understands what arises ceases, and that sort of signifies enlightenment. I guess it's the beginning of the process of enlightenment, but there's a lot in the text about such and such experience, what arises ceases. So that moment is referencing enlightenment. Is that right to say, or do we refer enlightenment as the whole process of the Four Noble Truths?
At the actual moment of enlightenment. Sorry, Ajahn, please carry.
Can we say it's only lokuttara citta, which is unique, the most? But the other moment, vipassana jnana, it is unique as well, but it can arise again and again and again in order to let go ignorance and attachment, stage by stage.
Yes. Whereas lokuttara citta does not. Well, it only arises a few times, not many times.
And it's only at a level of vipassana jnana that there is the direct understanding of the arising and falling away of realities. But this is not the moment of enlightenment. At the moment of enlightenment, the object is nibbana, no other object, the unconditioned Dhamma, so not arising and falling away of reality.
Okay. So the enlightenment refers to the experiencing of nibbana.
Experience of nibbana at that moment, and the magga citta at that moment of experiencing nibbana, different degrees of defilements are eradicated, and then the following lokuttara cittas are the fruit, the pala cittas, the fruit of that enlightenment. So if it is referring to, in the text you're reading, if it's referring to the direct understanding or the direct experiencing of the rising and falling away of realities, then it's referring to vipassana jnana.
Right.
And not the first, second, third level. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Cool.
But can I ask, what about like I do know that lokuttara citta is like the stage of enlightenment, but what about like Arya when they do jhana and have nibbana as an object? I mean lokuttara jhana. So would that be clear, or like the stages?
So if there are two kinds of jhana, the aramana jhana, the mundane jhana, and the lakkhana jhana. So it's a moment of enlightenment, and the development of insight leading to that is the development of lakkhana jhana. At the moment of enlightenment, the degree of concentration is the equivalent degree as that of mundane jhana. That's why it's referred to as jhana. So the object is nibbana. If the mundane jhana is the base, the condition for enlightenment, then even so, the object is always nibbana. It cannot be any other object at that moment of enlightenment.
Okay, thank you.
So, how many cittas are there altogether?
Many Dhanachan.
And including that which arises with different level of jhana as well. Is it right?
Yes, Dhanachan.
Alan, just as a matter of interest, when I Googled the term you mentioned, abhisamaya, I was offered an AI response, which says, abhisamaya is a Sanskrit and Pali word which means comprehension, realization, or penetration. It is made up of the prefix abhi, toward or over, the prefix sam, together with, and the root I or I, which is a verb of motion that means to understand. In general, abhisamaya means a coming together or a reunion. For example, it can refer to a knower coming together with something to be known, which is a clear realization. So that last seems to fit in with your idea of knowing something for the first time, something that hasn't been known before, a clear realization.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, Alan, yeah, that's very comprehensive, I think, Jonathan. Very often, when you got abhi, which obviously when we hear the word abhi, it's the way I'm looking at it. You've got those two words, abhi and samyo. So nearly every sutta, or so many sutta, you've got ekam samyam bhagava savatiyam viharati, like on one occasion or at one time. So samya there obviously means like it's a time or at one occasion or at one time. So when you've got abhi and samya together, you've got like a unique or a high moment or a high occasion. And as Jonathan said, it's often translated as penetration or understanding, high levels of understanding. I'm just, so, or penetration is, or clear understanding. So it's just those combination of those two words, as Jonathan said. But abhi and samyo, but I can notice Jonathan further broke it up to some, which means together or with. And then he looked at the root also, which is quite helpful in getting a better understanding of the word too.
Thank you. That's very comprehensive.
If no one is bringing up anything at the moment, I have something that I wanted to put forth to you, and then Tanajan, please, about on opening the eyes, Nimitta, everything is right there, always in relation to the self Atta. What is seen, heard, tasted, it's my view, my taste, hearing through my perspective and so forth, and how formidable, how tenacious the self is. And knowing that Panya is the most precious moment, of course, but the pursuit of which is anathema to bhavana, spiritual development, and that all things wholesome, every tiny, subtle micro moment of parami or kusala, all work together to condition the arising of panya, for example, and other wholesomeness. And I think I'd like to hear more on the present moment rather than trying to think or analyze the self and non-self and pursuing panya. Is just that moment by moment is the chance. It's not in the past, it's not in the future, it's in the present moment that there is the chance for understanding to develop. And there is no set course to this. It just happens naturally. I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
Yes, as you say, all that is precious has to be at the present moment because there isn't any other, and it's very easy to be lost in the stories, the papancha we mentioned earlier, the definitions, the details, and forget about just what appears now, the nimitta of reality. And as you mentioned so quickly, it's something or I or someone. And even when we talk about the wholesome qualities, the panya, the parami, the kusala, as I think Alan stressed too, it's so helpful to appreciate that even these qualities, even the panya, is dukkha, because it's gone instantly, not worth clinging to for an instant. Usually there's a lot of clinging to kusala, wishing to have more understanding, more metta, and so on, because of ignorance and attachment. So appreciating that whatever arises is gone, it's useless, never to arise again, helps to gradually let go a little by little that clinging even to wholesome qualities. So the panya is so precious in life, but it's also dukkha. It arises, it falls away, not worth looking for, searching for, trying to have at all. So this is the subtlety of the teachings. What is most precious is also unsatisfactory, gone. So nothing that arises and falls away in life can be satisfactory. And the wise ones appreciate that this is life. Kusala, akusala, vipaka, kiriya, dhammas, all are dukkha, not worth being born for again and again.
Yes, and for eons, just floundering in ignorance for eons. And I appreciate these discussions that I'm able to listen to when I can. And also that, I'm sort of breaking up the train of thought. The words evade me about, really ultimately the only refuge is the truth, the Dhamma that the Buddha taught.
And we could say in the deepest sense, the only refuge nibbana, the abhisamaya, because it doesn't arise, it doesn't fall away. So even the moments of understanding now, because they're impermanent and dukkha, are not a true refuge. So this is why the understanding has to develop deeper and deeper and deeper until all defilements are eradicated, and then no more clinging to life at all. But as you said, what about now? What about the clinging now? What about the understanding now? It has to develop little by little by understanding the nature of what has arisen now, what is appearing now by way of nimitta, the dark world now.
And all those truths about which the Buddha spoke came to be known by him by virtue of the understanding of what is appearing at the present moment. So it's all a building upon the understanding of what's appearing now, which is the point I think that you were making when asking the question, making the comment. And there's no shortcut to understanding those truths other than they can only come to be understood by the followers in the same way, by understanding what's appearing at the present moment, not by reflecting on the truths themselves.
Thank you.
On the other hand, it is the reflecting on the truths and the other aspects of the Buddha's teaching that are a condition for the understanding of what is appearing at the present moment.
Yes, and bit by bit, confidence grows, accumulates, and then that in turn will condition other kusala moments and so on. And I do, I just consider myself to be privileged to be among you and with Ajahn, to hear these words from the Buddha without embellishment and any personal embellishments, without any aggrandizement and so on. I see.
Yes, I think we all appreciate that.
Yes, I see a bit of that here in Bangkok, down the Soi, how various warts have these little festivals and various monks and so on, sort of advertising or promoting themselves, and it's Dharma with a bit of a spin. And I do appreciate Tana Jan's purity of delivery here, her absolute respect for the truth. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, well said, Eve.
Kun Supatson, any confusion today?
No confusions. There's understanding slightly developed, more and more. Actually, this morning there's discussion about vipallāsa, but it seemed to me that so far I know so little about vipallāsa. And I don't know, what to ask, because, I mean, my previous knowledge is so limited. And perhaps next time when I read Dharma books, I will ask, about the Vipallāsa. Or maybe if you have, some comments, not too difficult comments about Vipallāsa, it would be helped. Thank you.
Actually, it's daily life, taking that which is impermanent for being permanent, that which is anatta, taking it for atta, that which is unsatisfactory dukkha, taking it for satisfactory, and that which is actually foul, taking it for pure. So, as I said, even in the deepest sense, even the kusala dhammas, all realities are actually impermanent and unsatisfactory and foul in the deepest sense. And so we learn about the different kinds of citta and the different kinds of saññā, for example, that are vipallasas. Whenever akusala cittas arise, at those moments, the saññā is also akusala. It is vipallāsa of the citta, vipallāsa of the saññā. Usually people think of wrong memory as when they forget something, forget to take the keys out of the house, or drive in the wrong direction, or forget the name of the food on the table. This is just conventional ideas. The true saññā-vipallāsa, the true perversion of saññā, is at any moment of unwholesome thinking, whenever there is thinking now with attachment or ignorance. The citta is vipallāsa, and the saññā, marking and remembering the object, is also vipallāsa. And when any wrong view arises, there's also diṭṭhi-vipallāsa, such as now, when the light seems to last, or when the sound is something, a bird, my voice. It is diṭṭhi-vipallāsa at those moments. So it's daily life, it's right now. I think it was Nina last time who asked a question about tears and whether it could be kusala or not, and so on. And Ajahn stressed that only what is appearing now can be known. Otherwise, this thinking and speculating about this or that scenario. And so it's the same with the vipallāsa. Only now can there be understanding of the unwholesomeness of citta, or the unwholesomeness of memory when it appears now, like at the moment of comparing, when mana arises with lobha. At that moment, there can be understanding of the nature of mana right here and now, or at the moment of just feeling a bit bored or wondering when the time is up. It is citta-vipallāsa here and now. So we don't have to wait. We don't have to look in the book, because it's here and now. So different words just to refer to the unwholesome nature, the perversion of the way of thinking at this moment, the way of marking and remembering what's experienced now, and the wrong view, taking it for something now, taking it for lastingness. We might think, oh, we know that the notebook or the pen doesn't last. But what about the sound that seems to last now? Or the visible object, the light that seems to last now? If there's not the direct understanding, the clear understanding of the arising and falling away of realities, for sure, there is the idea of lastingness.
Okay.
So it's now.
I know that it's now, Sarah, but it seemed to me that, well, no understanding at all. Well, you know, there's a little bit, but it sounds like, you know, I want to have clearer understanding, more understanding. You know what I mean?
So the
Because
low,
I know it's loba, you know, it's
it can be
attachment.
understood now too. Yes.
I know it's it's attachment, right? Like want to know more and more, but actually in reality, there's so little or even no understanding at all, and it's obviously, you know, unknown at so far, right? It's so far, like at the moment, I know nothing. I don't know. You keep saying, you keep saying about vipallāsa, right? Citta-vipallāsa, but I don't understand the actual term of vipallāsa. You know, it's still self. You know my point. Like you mean understanding is so, the level of understanding is so tiny, and therefore there's ignorance. And sometimes, you know, like this morning, I got bored and I got into, you know, I slept without knowing, because I don't understand what should I learn. You know what I mean? Even the term, you know, I come back, right, to the term vipallāsa. I don't even know right now that what is vipallāsa. You know, I just know the like, it's not the reality of vipallāsa. It's like conventional understanding. You get my point?
And this is why Ajahn always stresses it. There has to be the understanding of reality, because otherwise we can read and recite and break down the meanings of terms. But what about the saññā now? What about the citta now? If there's no understanding of what is right and what is wrong now, like even now when thinking about, oh, not understanding anything, is it my understanding or is it a Dhamma we're talking about? Because as soon as it's the idea of my understanding not enough, then there is diṭṭhi-vipallāsa, taking it for something, taking it for mine, and not understanding much. Better to know that. It's actually there has to be some understanding to appreciate that. In the beginning, people think, oh, they understand about the arising and falling away of dharmas and everything is impermanent. But then we begin to appreciate that if the dharmas themselves, the seeing now, the hearing now, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling are not understood, how can there be the very deep understanding of the arising and falling away of those dharmas? Not at all. So better to appreciate how little understanding there is. That's the way it can begin to develop. So it takes time to even appreciate that very little, almost nothing is understood or known at all. And it's now. So is anything understood about seeing now or hearing now? Because, well, we're talking the countless moments of seeing, but all gone in ignorance. And the object of clinging again and again, like even if there's a little understanding, clinging instantly. The asavas that we often talk about, the instant clinging to what's seen and heard again and again. But none of these dharmas belong to you or me or anyone. They are just different dharmas arising and falling away, all dukkha, all of no importance, whether they were kusala or akusala, never mind, they've all gone. Not worth thinking about or trying to remember what happened this morning, completely gone. What about now? Always back to this moment. Different dharmas appearing by way of nimitta, not belonging to me or you or anyone. Right. If there's a little understanding or even a lot of understanding, still dukkha, all gone. Nothing worth clinging to in life at all.
But Kunsara, but you know, I mean, previously you didn't use the term vipallāsa, but you know, all you just say is about vipallāsa, right? But how could I understand that, you know, the term vipallāsa? You know, can I
Yes,
can I read in the book before?
yes, you can. If you go to Dhamma study group, I'll write something about it, or you can check it there. I'll try to even give a link here, but it's difficult during a Zoom. So common word, and the Buddha spoke suttas referring to the vipallasas, the perversions of citta, saññā, and diṭṭhi in particular, with regard to taking what is impermanent for permanent, what is anatta taken for atta. These two vipallasas of citta, saññā, and diṭṭhi are eradicated by the sotapanna. The sotapanna has no more of these vipallasas with regard to taking what is permanent for impermanent and what is anatta for atta, but still has the perversions of the vipallasas of taking what is dukkha, taking it for dukkha, taking it for sukha, and what is foul, taking it for being pure or beautiful, asubha, taking for subha.
And I heard the word perversion. What does it mean? I never
Yes,
heard.
it's just a translation of vipallāsa. So perversion in English means like a distorted way of thinking. So if one has a perverted way of looking at the world, it means it's distorted, not as it should be. So when taking what is actually anatta for atta, it's like a perverted way of thinking because it's not according to the truth.
Okay, yeah, I never heard the word perversion, but you know, I understand the word distortion. It's the same meaning,
Distortion,
right?
yes.
Okay,
Yes. So vipallasas are like the distortions of thinking, the distortions of memory, and the distortions of view.
Okay.
And the literal meaning of vipallāsa is something that is turned upside down.
What do you mean by that? Turn upside down.
So one is taking things wrongly. One is taking what is pleasant, unpleasant as being pleasant.
Okay, yeah.
For example.
And I understand that word, Kunsupatsong, and I understand that word is composed of three aspects. You've got we, pari, and as, the verb to be. So it's to be wrong thoroughly. To be wrong thoroughly. So yeah, you've got that word we in Pali, which is in Thai that you call upasag, which means not, and pari, which is thorough, and as, to be thoroughly, or to be completely inverted, you could say, or could be completely wrong. So it's just a distorted view of the way things are, a thoroughly distorted or thoroughly wrong or distorted way to be, or of viewing that Dhamma that appears.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Kunsupatsong, I've just posted something in the notes, and actually I see they give the translation perversions or distortions, and the four perversions, as I mentioned, of saññā, citta, and diṭṭhi, taking what is anicca as permanent, taking what is dukkha as pleasant, what is anatta taken for atta, and what is asubha, taking it for being pure or beautiful, subha, and then discusses which levels they are eradicated. So you may like to copy that. Otherwise, I can post it on DSG. Yes. Oh, Jonathan says it hasn't come through. No. And perhaps Ajahn would like to add more. I'm not sure if my note came through to everyone.
Who knows? now Vipallāsa. See, that's why Buddha
Okay.
pointed out the truth at different levels. It looks like it's not wrong at all to take the rose for the rose and so on. But more than that, no understanding of what is there at all. That's why the idea of the rose and people and everything is still there. But when learning about the truth, there are different levels of wrong belief, wrong word, wrong idea. That's why usually when we talk about Vipallāsa, in truth, it's any moment of no understanding of the truth of what is there. So it is akusala. But it's not like we say in Thai, so very Vipallāsa, because it's like the insane, no understanding as usual at all about what is there as it is, intellectually. That's why we learn about not just only Vipallāsa in a day. There must be wrong understanding, which cannot understand the truth. So take it as something in daily life, like everyone. No one knows that with what moment is Vipallāsa, any moment of no understanding of the truth. Is that right? But it seems like that person is so wise and understanding this and that. Seems like there's no wrong understanding at all, in general. But in truth, no understanding of the truth of what is there, as wrong understanding, very firm. And the moment when it's so simple in daily life, but only the one who understands that it's Vipallāsa, because it still not understand the truth of what is there as it is. That's why all depends on citta and citta. That's why we have the saññā-vipallāsa, citta-vipallāsa usually in daily life, and diṭṭhi-vipallāsa sometimes when it arises with lopa. Just like that idea, it seems like it's so true. I just believe that one has to go to meditation center and so on. See? But when we don't talk about such wrong understanding at that level, even not going anywhere to develop understanding, while there must be the understanding of what is there now, little by little, by conditions, not by anyone at all. That's why we learn to understand the subtlety, the subtle truth, which is hidden from moment to moment, years and years ago, that it has to be true to the truth. What is there? At what level? Intellectual understanding. It's not the direct understanding of the truth of one reality. And it begins to understand the difference between this one and the other one. Learn more, understand more in order to let go the clinging to the object by diṭṭhi or by wrong understanding or by mana. See, even that, see, this thought, no one at all. Even there's no wrong understanding at all, absolutely eradicated. But there can be still akusala because of vipallāsa, not because of diṭṭhi. See, that's why we learn to understand the truth a little more, that it's there now that we can understand it by hearing about it, considering about it, have more confidence of the truth. Saññā-vipallāsa. Any time that can be moment of understanding by reading, hearing, considering, all by conditions, not just as one like. I would like to hear more, I would like to understand more, but what is the condition for that? By anatta, more difficult, more subtle when it's only by anatta, not by anyone at all. That's why we just talk about the word, but to understand what is there, that it's so very subtle. It can be any moment by different degrees, by the very, very strong wrong view, or by daily life, not think that it's wrong, but it's wrong because it's just like any moment. That is a rose, that is a bed, that is a curtain, see? But it is saññā-vipallāsa. Even it's not diṭṭhi-vipallāsa, but saññā is vipallāsa. That's why we learn that each moment is so subtle. No matter what appears, they are only citta, cetasika, and rupa. That's all. That's why we can talk about any kind of citta, any kind of cetasika, any kind of rupa, different level, to let go ignorance, which is vipallāsa, or almost all the time. When kusala does not arise, they are all vipallāsa. When kusala does not arise, this is a different moment of the wholesome and the unwholesome, of different realities. That's why we learn why citta cannot be kusala, because no wholesome cetasikas arise at that moment with citta. So on, just consider what is heard, not just only in the book. That's why we ask and consider the truth. Even no one asks, there can be the moment of thinking, like, why is this? Because it's said on and on and on. And that is the citta-vipallāsa, from considering, after hearing, there can be moment of thinking about that which has been heard, continue to understand a little more by considering it again and again and again. That's the way. At that moment, kusala, not vipallāsa. Until a reality appears only one to be known by conditions. Second round of Ariya Satya. Second level. So when we talk about apissamaya or anything, there has to be the understanding of the what is vipassana, how many level of vipassana, and apissamaya is what moment, what level of vipassana. That's why there can be a little more understanding about no one, no self. But it's so very, very thick, very, very strong, very, very deep, to be moment of directly, suddenly, instantly aware of a reality with understanding of what has been heard and understood. See, it's not by myself, it's not by expectation, it's not by my will to have such and such moment of understanding the truth. That is not anatta. It cannot be closer to the nature of anatta at all. That's why Buddha taught about not just only tiṭṭhi, but also vipallāsa too. But the truth is there are citta and cetasika, very complex. So understanding a little more of the truth firmer. There can be moment of understanding any moment, It's not moment of understanding what is there. And the moment when it's conditioned by hearing and considering, it can be moment of thinking again about what is heard, about the truth, more careful, asking oneself whether this is what and what is this, like apisamaya. Is it vipassana, what level, or the highest, so on, different degrees. Sotapanna, Sakatagami, Anagami, Arhata. And is it vipassana? So understanding what is meant by vipassana, the word, just that word, not the other word. How many degrees, how many levels, which one is apisamayana? Not the first or the 10th level. And in order to make it clear, they can be reading about what is there in Tipitaka, about Vipassana, how many, what are they, and so on. And what is meant by the word Vipassana. Whether it's now or not now, see, so true.
It's in the Patisampada-magga, it talks about the Abhisamaya Kata, and it's referring to enlightenment and the eradication of defilements. So Vipassana jnana of this degree.
That's why we have
Sarah, can we say that living, when we have the idea of table, chair, mug, or cup, that is living in the past? Because what is touched, for example, is hardness. The hardness is gone immediately, but actually we still have the idea of something which is still there. So the present,
because of the vipallasas, because of the,
so it's kind of living in the past. Whenever there's the idea of something taken through through 6 doorways, experience through 5 doorways, the outer world, but it's something, isn't it?
it's something. But it's the present wrong understanding of what is experienced, what is seen, what is heard. There are the nimitta of the dharmas appearing, but it's all taken for something there, for chair, table, someone.
Right, so we're living in the present with vipallāsa at that moment, yeah.
Actually, life is always in the present. There is only the present diṭṭhi, the present citta, the present saññā. But because of the perversion, it's taken for something, for someone, or there's dreaming about what happened in the past, taking it for the present. But actually, it's the present dreaming.
Right, yes, yeah. Thank you.
The present perversion, the present papancha, clinging endlessly, even clinging to panya, taking it for my understanding or my lack of understanding, or not as much as Ajahn's understanding, or this or that, just all different kinds of papancha, different kinds of vipallāsa at this moment, all taken for something and someone's, belonging to me, belonging to the other, my little understanding, my ignorance, different kinds of papancha, different kinds of clinging, different kinds of vipallāsa, even now.
Thank you.
We've just got a few minutes if anyone wants to add anything, or if Ajahn would like to make any last comments.
Even the vipallāsa of the enlightened one, like sotapanna, is not as before. Then there is no enlightenment of the truth at all. For sotapanna, no wrong view and no diṭṭhi-vipallāsa, but still there is still vipallāsa by saññā-vipallāsa and citta-vipallāsa. See? So very
Still.
truthful to the truth.
No wrong view, but still the clinging to what is impermanent, clinging to it as pleasant, and still what is actually foul, but clinging to it as being pleasant, even without wrong view. What about the panya now? Actually, in the deepest sense, it too is dukkha, it too is not beautiful because it's gone instantly and it's anatta. So even a little wise considering can lead to a little letting go, a little less clinging to wholesome states or any states. Thanks for bringing up this topic, Kunsabat-san.
Okay.
The truth is the truth. Nobody can change any reality at all. Rupa, which is so very pretty, pleasant, and the rupa, which is unpleasant at all. Nobody can change, even the Buddha or the Sotapanna. The truth is the truth. So what about the lopa, the clinging, the vipallāsa, and wrong understanding? By conditions, they cannot be at the same level. There are so many levels arising by conditions. That's why only what is there arising falls away, never to arise again. But it conditioned the other moment to be different from now and on and on and on. That's the way it is. So the world of nimitta goes on, but the truth is just the ultimate truth. Whatever is there arises and falls away. The pretty rose, the nice clothes, it's nice, but no clinging. And seeing that that which is so beautiful arises and falls away. So it's foul, not worth to cling to, because it's just there very shortly and then gone. Never to belong to anyone, to be dream about, or to expect to have such and such, because all gone. That's why the understanding of each word should go deeper and deeper and deeper, because it's so true, that is so deep and subtle. Even we say that it's foul, but when it does not appear as that which arises and falls away, it's not yet that level of firm confidence, saññā-barami. That's why saññā-barami or saññā-barami condition the moment of understanding more and more, clearer and clearer, until no more attachment, no more ignorance. Otherwise, it's there. Even it's so very subtle, but it's still there until it's completely, ultimately gone. But learn to know it, even it does not appear as it is, in order to have firm confidence of the truth. Avijja, not understanding the truth of what is there, conditioned lopa, and other unwholesome reality, on and on and on. So the only way is be truthful to the truth of the word of truth. Study carefully, consider it a little more. Even it's far for those who have enlightened, but for those who do not enlighten yet, we just follow the word, but there is clinging to that object. But when one says it's far, it depends on how much understanding to let go, clinging to that object. To understand what is there has been taken for I, the truth of it is what reality, kusala or kusa, rupa, and so on. Is that true? Again. Sadhika.